morning, Rogersville. Thanks for watching us today.
We have a guest. It's my imaginary friend.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna.
What would my imaginary friend's name be? Howard.
Okay. I didn't know if you were going to have a male or a female imaginary friend.
I don't know. Howard is the first thing that jumped in my mind.
All right, Chester. I thought maybe.
That's weird.
Yeah.
In Houston, the only Chester I've ever known was the barber.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I've ever met.
And Chester's fried chicken.
Chester. Not that I know of.
Good morning, Beth.
Hey, Beth.
There's not too many Chesters out there. If you know of a Chester, let us know. Yeah. We'll have him on as a guest.
I think that would be a good cat name.
It would be a good cat name.
I think that'd be a good name for a cat. Would be Chester.
Chester.
We had a president, Chester A. Arthur.
I had no idea. I'm not sure I've ever heard that president's name before.
We had a president named Chester Arthur. That's really all I know about him. Was he was a president. I don't know anything else.
Sometime probably a long time ago.
1800s-ish,
I was going to say before things got crazy, but then, we really weren't around when politics were happening back then.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if they're that different crazy or not.
Well, it's like everything else. I think it's faster.
Yes.
They used to write nasty letters about each other and
then
put
by
them
the
in
time
the
like
newspaper.
you got your letter or saw it in the newspaper, you're like, I'm kind of over it.
Yeah.
We're good now.
But they didn't get over it because they fought duels and stuff and shot each other, and so
which is unfortunate. Yeah.
And they, there was a significant amount of mudslinging going on.
There was definitely mudslinging
back in the day.
I mean, there was definitely. I remember. I can't think of the word. Anyway. The advertising. They used advertising. They had buttons and they had satire and they had all of these things that they used in the politics of your
political cartoons. They did all of those things. But,
hey, Will, I'm really excited this light's out.
Yeah, I think it.
I think it's greatly improved our set lighting.
I do too. I think it's a good thing. So
I do.
Yeah, we have 2 overhead LED panel lights in the ceiling, and we usually have them on as well as our studio lights. And the one over us, we noted, was just out today.
It's a good thing.
And we decided it actually makes the studio pop a little bit better.
I will take this as a win.
So, now we could get some colored lights on our gray wall back there. We could do some fun stuff with that.
Ever improving. But we were supposed to have guests today, but I think we got crossed on communication, but that's okay.
Yep, it's all right.
I've got guests lined up for next week that I'm excited about.
That'll be fun. Yep.
It'll be fun, and it's very informative and good. And today we can just ramble on.
Yeah.
Lauren and Will.
we will ramble for sure.
We shall ramble.
Yeah.
Forever.
So I was telling you before we went on the air, because you don't watch the news.
I don't watch the news in order to keep my sanity.
That there's and I don't blame you a bit, but
because it's dark up here or its brain.
But I was shocked to hear that a leaked draft of a U.S. Supreme Court opinion has gotten out, which is insane. Oh, thanks.
Oh, that's right. Part of the guest is Will's missing beard.
Yep.
It's
mostly gone. I think I'm going to grow it back.
So tell me, first explain what so an opinion is something that they would then read to the public once it is.
Yeah, an opinion of the court is a stronger, it sounds like, that's just our opinion, but it's not. That's it. That's the law. It's the decision.
The decision
is
of the
referred to as an opinion. Oh, hey, Beth's got some information. There you go. Went by his middle name, named after his dad. Daughter named one of her Fluffy. There you go. Chester Arthur. There you go, after the president.
I like it.
Yeah, so when the Supreme Court issues an opinion, that's their decision. That is the law.
And the land.
And the idea that a draft opinion would get out before it was officially announced is shocking and unheard of. As far as we know, nobody can ever think of a time when that has ever happened before.
So it's like, is it real? But it seems
pretty real. I've been reading about it and listening to news articles about this leaked opinion all morning, and 96-page document with footnotes and appendixes, and Yeah, Beth. Well,
I'd say it's leaked with purpose would be my guess.
No, it is. And I mean, that's the speculation is that because it's a big decision.
It's a very controversial
It purports
subject.
to overturn Roe versus Wade, which would return the decisions on whether abortion is legal or not to the states. Would get rid of the federal intervention at that level. So yeah, a huge decision. And yeah, Beth, that's exactly what the speculation is that a liberal clerk, so a clerk is a lawyer that works for a judge and typically does all their research and a lot of their writing drafts, and then the justice just kind of puts the finishing touches on that.
So what would be
Well, the theory is...
What would be the reason to leak it? Obviously, to bring attention to it.
To bring attention to it. It's not law yet. It's not been announced, but the speculation is it was leaked by a clerk for a liberal judge in order to rile up public opinion and maybe get one of these justices to change their mind, which is highly, highly inappropriate.
Well, the whole... It's pretty shocking. I mean,
it's very shocking.
So here's my
on all different kinds of levels. But
here's my problem with the news and stuff now. It's like you hear about all these kind of big announcements and big, this has happened and this conspiracy and this has been leaked, but then it seems like nothing ever actually comes of it, and it's like, does it all get squashed down? Is some of it just soap opera?
I don't know.
Is it theater? You know what I mean? Because I feel like we have a very theatrical political system now.
We do, and it's so controlled by the media. I mean, we were also talking about the Commission on Disinformation panel that Homeland Security has enacted, a la the 1984 Ministry of Truth. But it is so controlled, and you think about if you really go back and think about the stories of things that happened. Okay, so Ghislaine, whatever her name is, Maxwell.
Gross lady. Yuck.
Has this list of people that were involved with their pedophilia ring. And the last thing I heard on that was she had withdrawn her objection to that being released. And that was months ago.
But then I feel like you'll never hear it released.
That was months ago, and we've still not seen it and not heard anything about it. So
inherently the problem with the current political system, number one, term limits need to happen in order to cycle more people in and out of it. My opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's done, because you still have to have the government to function. But we have to do something where being a politician is not a lifelong career where you enter as a normal person and exit as a crazy person with $10 million. So that's a problem, right?
Yeah, you shouldn't get rich being a public servant.
You shouldn't. And I mean, some positions do have term limits, right? So. Okay, so we have this problem where we've created a career of being a politician. I'm not sure that's really how the whole system is set up.
It's not, but the interesting thing is, if you really go back and you look at the history, particularly federal history of the Constitution and the way it was originally set up, we are so far
we're on a different planet. I mean, society's on a different planet.
It is, but the federal government was never designed or envisioned to be this daily intervention in your life that it has become. It was never intended to have all of this power.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you read the Bill of Rights, the 10 amendments. The 10th Amendment says, anything that's not explicitly said that it's the government's job is not the government's job. It's kind of what the 10th Amendment.
Well, we all know what they were escaping when they did this. Mm-hmm. And the other thought to that is, like, if you look at where the people came from, they came from Europe, which is not, as far as the geographically, you think of the different European countries as states, but then there's this whole,
Well, now there is the European Union. Yeah.
So the federal government wasn't ever supposed to be an overseeing mass of the states. We all know this.
Right.
It was supposed to, I don't know,
it's a cooperative idea. The various states were the highest authority and intended to be actually the individual
and that
was
makes sense.
Intended to be the highest authority, and then the state. And the closer you are to your government, the more effective the government tends to be, the farther away it is. But it's just, Beth, right. It's just insane that we run to the federal government every time we want something, and it's just not the way it was intended to be, and it's why it doesn't work very well, quite frankly.
Well, and I mean, one point I was going to make is, the whole system is set up not like it was supposed to be, and now we have states that are very different culturally, landscape, goods and services, people that live there, right?
Right.
We have very different states. Every state has their thing. Every county has their thing. Every city has their thing. And so now we're trying to be governed, and these people have figured out a way to make this a career with lots of money and lots of power. And what happens when you have money and power? People come along and tell you how wonderful you are and how smart you are because they want some of that money and they want some of that power. Yeah. It's a big ego thing. And so now you have people that would do anything to protect those positions.
Yeah.
That inherently, to me, is the problem with the government right now.
Well, it has too much power.
It has too much power.
And so that does attract people that want power. Excuse me. But the idea that every state is different, that was the goal. The goal of our federal system was to allow all the nut jobs to have California. And they can go do their nutty nut job things in California, and it won't affect us in Missouri. And that's the goal. That was how it was originally supposed to be. But now we keep shoving things, and it's, 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments, which did a lot of good, abolished slavery, all that stuff. But that out of that came what was called the incorporation doctrine. It used to, a state could say, we don't have free speech. Because that Bill of Rights, that was for the federal government. And so if you didn't have that protection in your state, well, you didn't have that protection in your state. Yeah. It stopped the federal government from doing that. Now we have the incorporation doctrine that says, no, those Bill of Rights, those apply to every governmental authority, top to bottom. If you are a government entity, you are bound by the Bill of Rights. And so, which is interesting, but it has, and I get the intent of that was probably noble, but it has created some problems with our ability to have diverse states. Yeah,
which we need diversity. We do.
Sure.
I mean, we do.
Well, everybody gets along a lot better.
Well, yeah.
Because
we're not all the same.
You just go where.
If everybody was supposed to be the same, we'd all have the same brain, right? We'd all just do the same things inherently. We'd all just. We're not supposed to be the same. We're supposed to be different. Good morning, Shanda.
Hey,
see you, friend.
Yep.
So, I mean, the essence of my concern on everything is, people talk about like that people either say the government's the problem or the companies are the problem. I feel like that's what we're going to. It's not so much left and right anymore. It's the money or the lack of money. And then...
Well, because government is so big, now it is business, and corporations and business and government are all kind of the same thing.
People are trying to blame, it's capitalism.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing to me is not capitalism, because in a capitalistic world, you can't get $100 million government contracts.
Right. That's not capitalism. That's socialism.
And frankly, that's how a lot of these companies have been allowed to get so big and so huge. So
government favors.
We need to stop blaming the big CEOs, the big money makers, the big money machines, because they've only utilized the system that's been put in front of them.
That's what was given to them. But if the government didn't have that power, if the government didn't have that money, man,
jeez, Will,
wouldn't be able to do that. Maybe I got the Rona.
So I mean, that's the deal. I mean, it's one of those things where it's all gotten very convoluted and complicated. The conversation I had yesterday was things are getting more complicated constantly, right? Information spreads quicker. In general, the big event is like weekly now. I mean, there's some big event.
Sure.
Well, then the counter to that is now every week someone's like, this big event is hiding this thing.
Yeah. False flag operations. Yeah. Which is just a distraction so you don't see what's going on.
Yeah, and so there's this big loop of like conspiracy theories and craziness, and people are like amped up and concerned. And frankly, what we need more than anything is a time of calm. Yeah, but I don't think we can get there.
No, I don't think we're going to get there either. And I think it's interesting. People talk about conspiracy theories and blah, blah, blah and all that stuff. And think what you want. But I think, logically, if you just kind of think through some things, I mean, are there criminals?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
There are criminals.
We know that.
Because we catch them. right?
Oh, yeah.
And
people have generally had crimes committed against them.
Yeah.
Everybody who knows had something happen to them.
So crime happens. There are criminals.
Yeah, we know that.
And we catch some of them. Do you think we catch the worst criminals or the best criminals?
Technically, we would catch the worst criminals because they get caught.
So the best criminals don't get caught.
Yeah, they're sneakiest about it.
And so the idea that there are criminal activity is going on out there that's not getting caught, that we don't know about.
Oh, that's 100% happening.
Sure it is. And if you're the best criminal and you're not going to get caught, what do you need to do? What are you after? You're after money and power.
Yep.
Well, where do you get that? Well, you get that from the government.
Yeah.
So the inherent logic is the best criminals will be in the government.
Well, it makes sense.
And they won't get caught because that just makes logical sense. And so the idea that government is not a criminal enterprise is logically inconsistent when you think through the facts.
Well, I mean, and you just about anything you can say, people are going to seek out where the opportunity is, good or bad.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
So the opportunity to make, I mean, what's your quickest, let's say you're in big construction and you start in commercial construction, you're doing good. And then, oh, by the way, here's a big old government contract. Yeah. Do you want to take this job?
That's what you want.
Yeah, you do.
Sure you do. and there's no oversight in government.
Correct.
Very little government. I mean, there is oversight. I don't want to say that incorrectly, but do you keep a better eye on your checkbook or somebody else's checkbook? Well, keep a better.
It's just it's the efficiency thing. You get to a certain point where you get so big, you become inefficient.
Well, it's not your money.
Yeah,
it's not your money. I mean, so you inherently don't care as much.
Correct.
About it. It's the government's money, and they've got lots of money, and a little $10 here, $100 there, $1 million here, nobody cares.
Yeah,
and that's what ends up happening with government. But it's incredibly inefficient. But
it's just one of those, it's one of those crazy government mornings on the waffle.
It is a crazy government morning. Speaking of big events, we had a big event this last weekend. You were there. I was not. I was at the trap shoot. Boys did good. Top squad. They won the whole thing. LR did again at the trap shoot.
We went on a method of simple is better, and we hosted the first annual LRPTA picnic, family picnic, and it was great. And I'll talk about this controversy, all right? So there's a little bit of a controversy around this because there used to be a mother-son dance and a father-daughter dance. PTA did.
I didn't know that.
Well, it was really before my time because I started on PTA during COVID and everything changed event-wise during 2020. So I had never experienced one of these events. But what happened is there started to be a little bit of, scuttle about, well, these events are really unfair. Well, because not every daughter has a father in her life. Not every son has a mother. Some people have a grandparent that's raising them. And, some people are able to spend a whole lot of money on this and some people are not. And so it kind of became pretty clear, I think, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but it kind of became clear that maybe these weren't the best way to continue event-wise, right? Because it is complicated and there's plenty of people that live in all kinds of different family situations. So we kind of decided back in, I think 2020, we weren't having the event, that we'd probably switch gears to a family picnic. Anybody could come and enjoy spending time with their kids. Yeah. And so we decided it was also best to make it simple. We don't need to do bounce houses.
Right.
We want, the inherent idea is for the parents to spend time with the kids.
Yeah.
Great idea. It worked.
Okay.
It was great. So
awesome.
we had yard games. We had like checkers and Jenga and a little pig race game. And we had footballs. It's like a little track and these little automatic pigs race on it.
Like robot pigs?
Robot pigs, yeah. Robot pigs.
Well, that'd be worth seeing. Robot pigs.
So we had we had a $5 lunch. We had free cotton candy. We had free face painting. And there was no, frankly, bells and whistles to this event, right? It was just fun, show up, play games with your kids. And guess what happened? When you got rid of all the distractions,
you had a good day.
Just played with their kids.
Awesome.
We didn't have to have anybody manning the games. They just played. We didn't do a bunch of prizes. We just did. There's some free footballs and free sunglasses over there. Go grab them. People enjoyed them. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
I feel like there is a big drive to go back to more simpler things.
I have some bad news, Lauren.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. The Bandit 5K.
Oh, no.
I'll be out of town.
Oh, crap.
Sorry. We're going to be in Sedgwick, Kansas for the Kansas State Shoot that whole weekend. So I'm not going to.
Can you still make the pork? Pre-make it? We'll discuss.
We'll discuss that.
We'll discuss.
We'll figure that out. We'll figure out something. We'll make sure that gets taken care of.
Sounds good.
But that's, when is that? It's like June something.
It's June 11th.
June 11th, yeah. The Sunday before that, June 5th, is our Sporting Clays outing that our church is sponsoring.
That'd be fun.
We just want to invite everybody to come out, beginners, novices. If you've never shot a shotgun before, come on out.
Shotguns are intimidating.
They
for
are.
People who have not been around guns
But,
much.
you know, the thing about a shotgun, and I've used an over-under, a break-open, and it's a very simple machine.
It is a very simple machine. I think they're the easiest, other than like bolt actions, they're the easiest to learn to load.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah.
It's got a barrel selector and a safety and a trigger, and that's kind of about all there is to it.
But they are intimidating. But so if you haven't ever shot a shotgun before, that'd be a great place to try
it would. Come on out.
They're really fun. We're gonna shoot them.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun because you blow stuff up, and it's a lot of fun. So you can come out and do that. You go to fbclife.org, click on events, register. You don't pay the church anything. You'll pay $30 per person when you get down there. That's Ozark Shooter's fee. Church isn't making any money on it. We're not even collecting money. But you need a shotgun, eyes and ears protection, and 2 boxes of shells, 50 rounds.
That's great. That'd be fun.
Come out and shoot with us. It'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm trying to get some guys, younger guys from the church that really haven't shot before to be on my team and do all that.
I grew up around guns, and my first gun we shot was a little 22, like everybody.
Yep.
And I remember learning to shoot with shotgun and being frankly kind of terrified of it because it kicks and it hurts. You get to the 12 gauges, they can hurt.
Well,
yeah,
I guess.
And maybe. And if you hold them right, they don't necessarily hurt, but it is intimidating.
Yeah, we're all looking for a dry day to get some work done.
Oh my gosh, this rain.
Yep, it's
been a rainy turkey season. Speaking of shotguns,
I got half my yard mowed, and then something went wonky on my lawnmower, so it's half mowed.
So I have kind of a funny story. I don't know if it's gonna be very funny because I can't tell the whole thing because how it went down. But there's an investment property in my neighborhood that somebody owns, and the grass had gotten pretty high on it, and Sunday night evenings, maybe 5 or 6 p.m., whatever lawn service showed up to mow the yard. And I'm sure he wasn't thrilled to be there Sunday night at 6.
Yep.
And the yard's a foot high.
Oh.
And I'm out there planting flowers to do my thing. And he starts mowing, and it's not going well. There's sticks and you're just hearing everything disaster.
The grind is going.
And so, pretty soon I hear a very loud expletive that echoes throughout the neighborhood. And he is stuck.
Oh no.
In a ditch badly. And I felt bad for him. At the same time, I'm like, dude, you can't be yelling cuss words.
Small town.
In a small town on Sunday night. You will bring attention to yourself. Yeah. So his lady friend pops out of the truck, and they're both characters. They look like they could be characters in a movie. And the neighbors come out, and they get him out. But it's just it's Sunday night is not an appropriate time to yell cuss words in Rogersville.
Well, is there really ever an appropriate time to be yelling cuss words?
I don't know.
Apparently every Saturday at 10 now, Vicki. She's talking about the Larry Martin Community Garden. If you want to help them out, there you go. You can help them there. And then
the Larry Martin Community Garden may or may not have something to do with our guest next week.
Oh, well, that'll be interesting, wouldn't it? And this Friday night, right here at Jamestown, will be First Friday put on by Storytime.
I'm excited that First Friday is back.
Yep.
And I can't believe it's May.
I know.
What?
Gee whiz.
I'm drinking delicious one of their blackberry lattes this morning.
Oh, blackberry latte.
Blackberry latte, it's good. It's pretty good. It's delightful.
I wouldn't have, I don't like a lot of fruit in my coffee, generally speaking.
I tend to not either, but I wanted to try something different. And I was I'm tired of this dreary weather, and I wasn't going to have a hot beverage, so I went iced.
Something a little springy. We had FFA banquet officer installation awards and all that.
I saw some pictures from that. It was kind of a big night.
It was a big. It was a big deal. Yeah. Big deal.
Tell us about. We have a big retirement happening in the FFA, right?
Yeah, Jason Shriver. He's I think he's like 25 years.
He's a super nice guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's he retired, and Shanda's had that. She says it's
good.
pretty.
The blackberry latte is tasty.
Pretty tasty down there. So yeah, it was a big deal, and kids graduating and all that stuff, and
May is a busy month.
Yeah, it is a busy month.
There's graduations. There is people, so you're starting to kind of do vacations. You're getting out of school. The last month of school is super crazy busy. There's field trips, and it's Teacher Appreciation Week, too.
There you go.
Thank you to all of our teachers and admins and staff out there that run our awesome schools. We appreciate you.
Yeah, Jack, our youngest, is going to be a senior. Wow.
Holy guacamole.
I know. Gee whiz.
So you're going to have that whole empty nest thing happen.
I guess. Luke's still at home, so we'll see.
There you go.
Well, all right. What a deal.
So, May is busy, and I feel like lots of events are starting. And Bailey Tennis is working on getting the farmer's market back going. She's just going to call it the market.
The market, awesome.
And she is working on that. So, hopefully, that will be happening as well.
Yeah, that would be good.
That'd be nice to have that back in Rogersville.
It would. It really would. But like everything else, it takes a team. You got to have a whole crew to pull those things off. And so,
yes.
Just step up, do something.
Well,
help out.
And volunteer fatigue is real right now.
Yep.
I mean, it's super real. I
think it snowballs too.
Yes, it does snowball.
Because, you've got 10 people, a couple of them get fatigued. Now you got 8, they're having to do more. A couple of them quit, and then it's just,
Yes. Well,
you're just two people
tough.
sitting on a waffle.
2 people sitting on a waffle. Well, and I mean, it is because the doers tend to get more piled on them.
Yeah.
And things have gotten complicated too. It's like with the Bandit 5K, costs have gone up on these events. And so now you're trying to figure out how do we keep costs reasonable and still make money for the organization, because that's the purpose, right, of the event. And, you don't have a big volunteer pool to pull from. But the 5K is going to be awesome this year. Our t-shirts it's cool. The medals are ridiculous. They're awesome.
And the name's fantastic.
Yeah, we'll tell them the course name.
What is the course? It's the Worsham Law Firm Estate Planning Run for Your Life.
Course. We have a course sponsor and a medal sponsor, and this year I was like, oh, well, whoever's a course sponsor can name the course. That'll be fun. Will named it. I'm like, you don't actually have to run for your life. I mean, you can.
I think it sounds good, though.
It is perfect. It's very fitting for the whole estate plan concept.
Yeah, that's right. Run for your life. We'll do it that way.
Well, and it got, when I announced that, it got some good Facebook feedback.
Oh, did it? I don't think I saw any of that.
People were like, that's funny.
Okay, good.
So, I mean, it is. It's just one of those things that, now I feel like gas prices and grocery prices and home prices and everything has gone up. People may not be as willing to donate or donate as much. Sure. You never know. It seems like there's always a ripple effect on that.
Yeah. Well,
so it's complicated.
And I know we have a perfect storm of things.
We do.
Causing inflation. But I mean, wages and prices are hardwired together.
Oh, yes. Anybody who can't figure that out.
And so this whole, we need to raise the minimum wage.
It's going to keep raising. Yeah.
You can't win. You cannot win that game because it's not about, $15 an hour. Okay, $15 an hour means nothing because it doesn't. The numbers mean nothing. It's your purchasing power.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if you make $15 an hour, $150 an hour if costs go up. So every time you make wages go up, you make costs go up, and it's a losing proposition, especially for those people that actually make minimum wage.
Well, and one thing, and I think a point that especially is true.
Vicky, got a little work done. Sounds like.
I think a point that's especially true around here is that sometimes when you don't have to raise wages, you take a little bit of advantage of that and don't pay your talented people what you should be paying them.
Right, that's true.
And I think we have an exceptionally talented workforce, a lot, not all of it. I mean, there's bums in every community. There's people that take advantage of people in every community. Ooh, which reminds me of something I want to talk about. Okay. That just reminded me of something. And so I think we had a lot of talent here for a long time that probably wasn't paid where they should have been paid. So it's a hard balance.
It is a hard balance. Of course, our cost of living around here was low too.
It was low.
So
now it's gone up, and now you got to pay.
Wages here in comparison to the cost of living were actually superior than in most of the rest of the country.
Yes. And then all of a sudden, the cost of living here has changed.
Well.
Yeah. Yep.
There you go.
Yep. Okay, so here's
last
an
topic
interesting
for the
scenario,
day.
last topic of the day. So there's a new tactic scammers are using to scam people on construction projects and remodeling and stuff.
You talked about this Thursday.
People are using the excuse of material costs rising, that they need you to put X amount of money down to secure that price of that good. Okay.
Which if they go and buy it, that works.
That works. However, if they take your $10,000, your $15,000, your $500, and they run off with it, which happens, you are really screwed.
Well, that could be intentional fraud. But then, what happens if you give the guy $15,000 and he just keels over?
Yeah.
Now what do you do?
What do you do?
Now
You're
what
screwed.
do you do? So that's why we do.
Here's the deal, though. Because I do feel for contractors.
Sure.
The good contractors have a really difficult job right now of trying to navigate rising and fluctuating material costs and availability with jobs, because you can just lose your butt on a project.
Yeah, you bid a job, and then all your costs went up, and you're kind of stuck.
And that definitely happened with lumber. In 2021. That was a epic. I mean, there's builders who probably lost a lot on houses.
Well, and that's I don't know. I'm not in construction. I don't deal with it, but I would assume that a lot of these contractors, if they're really smart, they're going to a cost plus.
I think they're going to have to. That's what I'm hearing too.
Yeah, it's going to have to be just whatever it costs, what it costs, and then you pay us X amount above that. But
so the way to, and a lot of people will tell you, a good contractor will not have you pay up front. That is typically the case. There are some scenarios where a contractor has got to go buy materials, and it is just not feasible to do that, right?
Right.
So if someone does say that, here's a simple solution. Go to the supply company and pay the supply bill at the company.
Pay them direct.
That's one. But again, they could still take off with the materials.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you make sure those materials wind up on your job site?
Correct. So, I mean, ideally, you don't pay anything up front.
Yeah.
But beware of this.
Well, an escrow company can.
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Can step in there. That way, the contractor knows he's getting paid. But
who would be an escrow company in contracting?
Oh, they're all over the place. Like any of the title companies.
Like a title company?
Most title
I guess
companies
they could do that.
Yeah, title companies will do that. Most of them will, I think.
Huh. I'm going to ask my title ladies
there
about
you
that.
Go. All right.
And say, will you guys hold an escrow for just not a real estate transaction, but just for
construction?
Construction.
Yeah.
And what would you charge for that?
Yep.
That's a good point.
There you go.
So it's something to be mindful of.
All right. There's a waffle for today. Thanks for hanging with us. Y'all
for
lovely
Chester for being
Rogersville
He
people.
gave a lot of input, really interesting input
Very
on
helpful
topics.
today.
Chester, the imaginary friend.
And we'll be back next week with another guest. Thanks for watching.
Bye, guys.